Hey, I'm Colleen, and if you are new here, welcome aboard. I'm so very grateful for you and that you have come to join me today. So here at the Just Colleen podcast, this is a place where we chat about real life, sometimes with a pun or two, absolutely no politics. So I won't participate in 4th of July events. It's primarily because where fireworks and large crowds are present. And there's a couple reasons, but the primary reason is I'm an animal advocate. And I feel the stars in the night sky, along with the lightning bugs, are so much more than enough, especially during, say it's a meteor shower or an alignment, right? Okay, so we're going to jump right into today's episode. We all have that one friend who always declines events, outings, maybe lunch invites, weddings, family and friends gatherings. Yeah, you know that person. Yes, you whisper about them. We all hear you. Saying, maybe they're standoffish or even antisocial, okay? Well, have you ever considered that person has unspoken things that they're going through? Or even the well-known crowd anxiety. It's not a flaw. That is their boundary. Something that they maybe are trying really hard to work through. And perhaps when you stop trying to make them, to force them, to make them feel guilty about not joining in, and you start respecting their silence, their rhythm, their boundaries, in lieu of making assumptions or judgments, guess what happens? They may start showing up, but in their own way. Sometimes it's even from a distance. Sometimes it's on their own terms or within their own comfort zones. Maybe at this point you want to jump back to my previous podcast called Uncomfortably Welcome. All right, let's jump in. This is a conversation we all need to hear, probably more than once. And this conversation was actually validated yesterday when I spoke with my daughter. It's about respecting other people's perspectives, respecting their boundaries, and respecting their preferences without judgment, without making them feel guilty, without the assumptions, without, especially as one of my friends would say, talking out of both sides of your neck to others. And most of all, without the need to fix or control them or their situation. I know it's easier said than done, right? I hear you. Here's the truth. They are not being self-centered or being entitled. We just are all wired differently. And that changes throughout your life. It could be based on trauma. It could be based on medical issues. But those changes that take place, we all need to respect them. Respect those boundaries. Respect where that person is. They may be on a huge healing journey. What brings joy and peace to one person might feel like total chaos to another, right? So for example, some people prefer to meditate or, recharge themselves in complete silence, maybe in the bedroom or just zoning everything and everyone out. And then there's others that they prefer group settings of like group Tai Chi or group yoga or group Pilates. And then there are others who just need to be in a crowded room. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just where they feel their peace is in a crowded room. And then finally, there's others that just feel safer in their own space. And the more we try to squeeze people into our idea of what normal is, the more we miss out on what makes them so beautifully human. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this gently, but clearly. Hear me out. Respecting someone does not require that you agree with them. What it simply means is you acknowledge their needs, you acknowledge their experience, and you validate them. You know that movie you just love, and you keep pushing it on someone else because you just love that movie and you feel it'd be such a good influence on this other person, and this other person has no intentions and has told you they don't want to see this movie for their own personal reasons, and they should never have to explain themselves as to why. And this is where the boundaries come in. They're not walls to keep others out. They're bridges that say, this is how I feel safe in this particular place or in this particular situation, right? And it takes so much courage to set those boundaries throughout your life. We all know boundaries. They can be really, really difficult, not only for you to set, but for others to respect, especially if you have been a yes person pretty much your entire life, right? Sometimes even learning to say the word no can be so difficult. And it truly takes grace to honor those boundaries of another. I know sometimes we don't even mean to judge someone or make the assumptions. Maybe we're just trying to help without seeing the other person's perception. Or we truly believe that we know what's best for that person. But if we are not careful, our well-meaning advice, it can start to sound like control. Or worse off, it can sound like we are shaming them. And we don't want to do that because remember, we all have experienced shame at one level or another throughout our lifetime. Here's the gentle reminder for today. You don't need to fix someone's preferences. You don't have to understand their whys. Just learn to respect their no's. You don't have to push them because that's how you would do it or you would see it. And please don't discard another person because they don't believe the same way you do. They don't believe like you. No one requires any explanation of another's reasoning. You don't need to explain yourself. Sometimes the silence is to avoid sounding like maybe you're making excuses. Have you been told that before? And when someone tells you that they need something, hear them, believe them, even if it sounds repetitive or unfamiliar, inconvenient, or even dramatic, because they are sharing with you, whether they're able to explain it with complete understanding or not, or it's just via a hug in silence. Respect them for who they are. You know, it's okay to say, hey, that's not how I would do it. But I do see that it is working for you. Or, thanks so much for telling me what you need. Let me see what we can do. And the key word here is we, because it provides that sense and offering that they are not feeling this alone. Or even just a quiet, respectful nod. Also, remember the rule of using the word but. People do not hear what you say before the word but. So choose your words wisely. You know, the truth is every single person that you're going to meet or have met or even know, no matter how close you believe you are, that person is carrying a story that you haven't read, a wound that you haven't seen, a history, a part of their history that you were not privy to. And the more room that we give people to be their full selves, quirks, boundaries, preferences, and all, the more space that we create for mutual trust and real connections. So here's your thought for the week. Different isn't wrong. It's just different. And kindness doesn't ask us to understand everything, just to respect what's not ours to change. Kind of let that settle in a little bit. Go ahead and let people be different without diagnosing or trying to fix or being opinionated or to even control it. And let their no matter how they say it, let their no be enough. And if someone gives you the gift of trust with their boundaries, honor them with your whole heart. and with complete discretion. Don't share it, not even with other siblings or close friends. But remember this, you and only you were honored with their trust. Alrighty, my friends, that's it for this week's episode of the Just Colleen podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for growing with me throughout these past 5 years. And remember, we're all doing our best with what we know at our present moment. A little respect, well, it really does go a long way. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Just Colleen, and have a fantabulous day.